was a day that began like any other. Morning arrived with the first rays of sunlight streaming softly through the window's edge, painting delicate patterns of light on the walls. I remained in bed a little longer, mulling over the thought of starting the new day. My husband had already left for work, as was his custom, early in the morning. He would silently rise, brew his coffee, and leave the house with care not to disturb my rest. His morning ritual had become a consistent part of our married life. The stillness of being alone at home always brought me a sense of serenity. Those tranquil mornings spent by myself were precious moments to organize my thoughts. While preparing breakfast in the kitchen, I noticed a note resting on the counter. "Have a fantastic day. I love you," it read. Holding the note in my hands, I paused briefly. These small acts of affection were a cornerstone of our marriage. After making my coffee, I went to the living room. As I sipped it, I switched on the TV. The morning news, as expected, was a barrage of daily events, but my thoughts were elsewhere. Tasks awaiting completion, dinner plans, and ideas for the weekend swirled in my mind. Just then, the phone rang. The caller was an old friend of my husband's, someone who had stayed in touch with us over the years and felt like family. His friendship with my husband stretched back to their childhood, and their bond had only deepened over time. He had even been the best man at our wedding and remained intertwined in our lives. The familiar warmth in his voice greeted me. "Hi, are you free? I was thinking of stopping by after work for some coffee, if it's no trouble." His friendly tone reflected the years of camaraderie. "Of course, why not?" I replied, smiling. His visits always brought a casual, welcoming atmosphere. Throughout the day, I didn't dwell much on the upcoming visit. It felt like an ordinary part of our routine. However, a faint sense of unease flickered within me, an emotion I couldn't quite identify. As afternoon approached, I tidied the house, straightened the living room, set the table, and put the kettle on for coffee. When the doorbell rang, an involuntary smile spread across my face. I opened the door to his familiar grin and a box of chocolates in his hand. "This is a little something for your husband," he said, extending it to me. Gestures like these reminded me why he was so well liked. We prepared coffee in the kitchen and soon fell into a conversation about old times. He recounted memories with my husband, amusing anecdotes from their past, and cherished moments that shaped their lives. His storytelling had a way of putting me at ease. Yet, as the conversation flowed, I noticed his gaze lingering on me longer than usual. At first, I dismissed it as my imagination. People sometimes misinterpret things, don't they? But as time passed, I couldn't ignore the subtle shift in his demeanor. The conversation, though rooted in nostalgia, began to carry an undercurrent I couldn't quite define. At one point, he said, "I haven't been getting along with my wife lately," his eyes fixed on his coffee cup. While such confessions are often signs of trust, the tone of his voice and the weight in his words unsettled me. "You're so easy to talk to," he continued, briefly meeting my gaze. "You're always so understanding. It's comforting." His sincerity stirred an odd discomfort within me. The boundaries of our interaction felt as though they were beginning to blur. What started as lighthearted reminiscing had shifted to something more personal. "You know," he said softly, his voice taking on a serious note, "I feel lucky to have someone like you in my life." As he spoke, he placed a hand on my shoulder. That small gesture marked a turning point. The unease inside me crystallized into clear discomfort. Standing abruptly, I said firmly, "I think this conversation needs to end here." My words carried a determined edge, but he seemed unfazed. The evening eventually concluded with his departure, but the heaviness of the encounter lingered. Alone in the quiet living room, I tried to process what had transpired. I couldn't escape the sense that my life had been altered in a way I couldn't reverse. The experience etched a profound lesson in my heart: the importance of maintaining boundaries. Life often presents unexpected challenges, but staying true to our principles is crucial for preserving our inner peace.